Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the May 3rd and the May 17th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We
That was fun.
had two quite full meetings here to talk about. So
I think these two meetings cumulatively or were longer than all of the meetings earlier in the meeting cumulatively. That's what I meant.
well, that's good for us because it gives us something to talk about today. So we'll jump right in. And on our May 17th council meeting, we had actually 3 proclamations to start us off. So quite a few of those.
Yeah, it was kind of proclamation night. You know, it's always exciting. It was Poppy Days. Poppy Days coming up. And so we had the auxiliary from the Legion and the VFW here, presented poppies, and they don't sell them. They give them away, and then they will accept donations. And that was, I misspoke on that. You say enough words, you'll say the wrong words.
And that's May 20th and 21st, correct?
Okay, thank you. Yes, and they're going to be at various stores around town, the Cubs and the, I don't remember, the Walmart, and they went through the locations. But look for them if you're out shopping, and please be generous. It's all to help. I believe it was disabled vets, maybe.
Yep.
I'll see. Wow, you're smart. You got it all queued up there.
I pulled it out here.
All right, I'll try and keep up.
All right, and then our next one was a Community Scholarship Month proclamation.
Yep, community scholarship. Yep, annually Nick Brashenko comes in, and he talks about the year they've had. And this year, they're awarding 126 scholarships to the Coon Rapids High School seniors, at a total of almost $140,000. And it's an awesome program. It's been going since 1966, and since 1966. They've given away about $3.5 million in scholarships, and this is all funded by, the residents, the local businesses, just writing that $100, $20, $1,000, whatever, any amount of check.
Yeah, you sometimes think those small amounts, but over the years, as we can see, $3.5 million. They've helped more than 5,300 students in that time since 1966. So quite a feat there.
Absolutely, you get 10 residents to write a $20 check, and you get a couple $100 for somebody. So,
all right. And then we had a third proclamation.
We did Armed Forces Day. Each year now, for the last several, in conjunction with the Epiphany Spring Fest, the 451st Army Band comes in and plays, and we celebrate Armed Forces Day. And it's really a marvelous presentation of the colors. The various armed forces are represented with the flags of each branch. I will be there and read the proclamation. Retired General George Steiner is very much the organizer of this event, and it's just a very nice event. It's Saturday afternoon, this coming Saturday afternoon. Is that the 20th?
That'll be the 21st. Yep.
21st, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, over in the Spring Fest under the tent, and it's very nice.
All right, and Spring Fest is going on this Friday, correct? And Saturday. It's 2 days this year, the 20th and 21st.
Yep. Friday night is the Jonah and the Whales are playing out there, and of course the full complement of food and rides. And then Saturday goes from 11 to 11. The Armed Forces thing is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Saturday night is the Flying Armadillos or the Fabulous Armadillos.
Something like that. But they always have entertainment out there. Of course, people can see when they drive down Hanson the rides and the food and all of that. So that should be a good time. Hopefully they have nice weather for it.
Hopefully they have nice weather. That makes all the difference in the world.
That's true. That helps attendance.
I can remember years ago cowering in a back hallway with the Johnny Holm Band while the storms were rolling over.
Yeah.
So,
Fortunately, we haven't had to deal with a lot of storms yet. So
no. Hopefully good weather.
All right. We'll move along. Council approved a temporary on-sale strong beer and wine liquor license. This is for the 4th of July celebration. Obviously, interesting to talk about beer and wine, but want to more broadly talk about that the 4th of July celebration is quickly approaching.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's over. Well, yeah, it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
So this is another big event for the city, and that's the 4th of July celebration. This is our second year where it's moved from Sand Creek Park back to Coon Rapids Boulevard. And it's going to be alongside of the Ice Center there, and it's going to be July 2nd through, I think, the 4th.
That would make sense.
Yeah, and it's going to be an amazing celebration. It's going to kick off with the parade. There's going to be the car show. There's going to be a craft fair this year. There's always a lot of good entertainment.
All right.
Fun event.
So the parade, like you said, kicks things off. That's on Saturday, July 2nd. It'll be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when the parade starts. And they are still looking, I believe, for entries into the parade. So if you know anyone that wants to get involved or has a float or some other group and wants to be in the parade, get a hold of the North Star Lions Club.
Yep, and now they are good to go selling strong beer and wine for the celebration. So.
All right, I imagine some of the festival goers will appreciate that. Yeah. All right, we had another approval of a Class A on sale Sunday and 2 a.m. liquor license. This is for Marbles 2 Incorporated. Haven't heard of this group before.
Yeah, well, no, and nor had I. And I don't know if they're affiliated with the other groups around town. There's a couple other bars that end in cow. And this one will be the Muddy Cow, and this is 133 Coon Rapids Boulevard. And longtime residents know it as the old Tequila Berries site. There's been paddy wagons in there, and I don't recall what else has been in there. Diggity's was the last one. Yeah. You know, and I think they've struggled to find just the right model for there. And, you know, hopefully this will be it. It's exciting to have a viable business going back in there again, and look forward to it opening.
All right. Council adopted a resolution. This accepts the 2016 Coon Rapids Member City Grant Agreement. What is this about?
Right. Coon Rapids is part of a 9-city visitors bureau called Twin City Gateway. And the state mandates that I believe it's 3% of all lodging tax be paid. And then you have to have these visitors bureau that accept the money and then do things to promote business for the lodging. And part of that tax goes back to the member cities as a way to hold, to celebrate community celebrations, to attract people to the area, to attract people to the market, and hopefully, as they say, get heads in beds.
Okay.
Yeah. Coon Rapids is, we go back and forth between Shoreview as the largest contributor to the Twin City Gateway Visitors Bureau. And because we're a very, very vital area for hotels, and particularly being next to the National Sports Center, which is a huge draw for this area. I've gotten way off track. I've given you too many details.
It's okay.
Okay, so what we did though is we accepted the check from the Twin City Gateway Visitors Bureau for $21,000 and change. I don't recall what the amount was now.
$920.
Yep,
almost 22 grand.
Yep, and this money will be deposited into the 90% of it will go into the Community Strength Foundation for in town, and that money goes to support movies in the park, the Arts Commission, the fireworks for the 4th of July, things like that.
All right, so important money to get here from that group.
It is. It's all about, you know, activities around town, so that's a good thing.
All right. Council held a public hearing and considered a resolution authorizing an application for economic development funding. This is for RMS companies.
Yeah, RMS Company is the largest private employer in Coon Rapids. They've got over 700 employees, and they're currently operating out of about 215,000 square feet. It's a very impressive building down in the Evergreen Industrial area. And they want to add another 60,000 square feet to that, I believe it was. And it was going to be another $10 million in equipment and hopefully another 100 employees. And these are really good jobs. I mean, none of these are entry-level positions. They're all in the 50 to, I think the least is like 35, and a lot of those guys are making over 100,000. So it's a very wonderful business to have in town.
So it's good to see them wanting to stay here and expand their business here in Coon Rapids.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, and the president of the company was here and talked to us about it, and yeah, so we're real happy that they're doing that.
All right. Let's see. We are moving on to another public hearing. This was on establishing a housing improvement area for Creek Meadows 2 Owners Association. This is actually the townhomes that are right across here from City Hall.
Yep.
And we've had some of these requests previous for other townhome associations.
Yeah, it's a state statute that allows a townhome community that is otherwise unable to fund the fix-up. When they need the roofs, the garage doors, the new aprons, whatever it is, if all of a sudden it needs to be done and they don't have the reserve set aside, they can come to us and we kind of act as a fiscal agent, for lack of a better word. and help them get a loan so that they can repair everything. Because we have the assessing authority, we can assess the properties so that they get paid back for the properties.
So this is not something where it's coming,
repairs.
it's not city general taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But it does fix up a large area of real estate in town. I mean, when you're fixing up 50 units all at once, and I don't remember what the number was here, it's a significant difference to our housing stock. It's a significant improvement.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of the issue with these homeowners associations over time is that they have not been putting enough. Their association dues obviously haven't been high enough.
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple of the residents that have been there almost since it opened, and they said, "Well, we've enjoyed lower association dues for the last 25 years, or whatever that number was. Now we realize we need to get all these things done, and the free ride is over, and we need to get it done."
All right, so this just holds a public hearing establishing this. Did the group already voted on doing this? Or does it go back to them?
So what it came to us with a petition. Okay. It's a minimum number of residents that have to request this, and then now if they still need to support this. Okay. If a certain number speak in opposition to it, then I think that it can delay it. I don't know. Okay. There's all these it's a state statute, so there's all these.
But it goes back to them, and if the majority agree to this, this will move forward, and they will get their work done.
Yep. This is not city driven. This is all from the association. If all of a sudden there's pushback in the association, it's up to them to work it out. It's not our initiative; it's their initiative.
Right.
So they need to make sure that they've got the majority of the people looking that want to do this.
All right. We had a couple awarding of contracts, actually in both of our meetings in May for municipal state aid street reconstruction. Mentioned this, if people have driven around town in the last week or two, they've noticed that construction is really ramping up around town.
The Minnesota state aid streets are the ones we use the most. And we've got 7.5 miles of them under construction this year. So we are all going to be impacted by this, but they need to be done, and it's going to be so nice when they are done. Just this week, Mississippi Boulevard was torn up from Hanson over to Exavis. That's the first strip down there. Exion, or Xeon, as the neighbors up there say, I've always said Exion, is torn up as it enters the industrial area there. 128th Avenue between Coon Creek and Crooked Lake, 7.5 miles. We've got a lot of it going on this year.
Some stuff on Egret and Foley too this year, I believe, as well, and Crooked Lake you already mentioned, Round Lake. So, like I said, some of those major roadways that people take, they will notice this construction, but obviously be patient. Yep. And not that we're looking forward to winter yet, but it'll be nice once the work is completed.
It's going to be really nice because some of these roads are in really bad shape. And many of them, they're bicycled on, they're walked on, and it'll be just wonderful to have them redone.
All right, and I thought we had two of those, but we actually had, one of those was actually a 15, it says street reconstruction, but it's actually with trail construction, so there's also some trail construction going on as well.
Yeah, was this the...
One's a replacement of a pedestrian bridge in Erlinson Park.
Oh yeah, replacement of the existing pedestrian bridge in Erlinson Park because it's getting older, and it's not wide enough for us to get our equipment over to plow it and things. And surprisingly, those bridges aren't that expensive. The bridge was $37,000. Oh. So, and then we'll take the old bridge and store it over at Public Works, I guess, until we find a place for it later.
Almost could just get one for your own backyard if you wanted. I mean, that is pretty cheap.
And then, so it'll be the pedestrian bridge within Erlinson Park, and then the trail reconstruction from Exavis Street to 105th Avenue by the Dahlia and Riverview Parks there. And then new trail construction at Peppermint Stick Park. Okay. And the total of those was just less than $150,000, and it's all going to Barber Construction, and they've done a lot of work for the city in the past.
Okay, so the contract was awarded for that work, and that work will be underway shortly.
Yes.
If not sometime this summer. All right, we will move along to an approval of an amendment to Gateway Commerce Center Planned Unit Development. That's what was looked at here. This actually wound up being tabled. This was previously considered by the Coon Rapids Planning Commission, so I know there's been a lot of discussion with the Planning Commission and now a lot of discussion at the council meeting level.
Yeah, this is that development that's on the northwest west corner of Hanson Boulevard and Highway 10. You know, right now there's the new McDonald's, the new Holiday, the new Taco Bell, the Jimmy John's Caribou. There's a chiropractic office. You know, so there's a lot of nice things going on there. But this was laid out a long time ago. The first planned unit development plat, I think, was done in 2007. At least that's the book I've got. You know, the whole project started back in the 70s or something. And things have changed in the last 9 years. So whereas CVS and Walgreens felt they had enough units in town, we redesignated that so that the McDonald's could go in. Where the Taco Bell went in, that used to be designated for a bank, and we didn't have any interest in getting a bank in there. Now, a while back, we approved at the end of that street, it was slated to be 2 spots of retail and not automotive, and we changed one of those to allow a 6-acre car dealership to come in. Then that same car dealership owner was presented with another opportunity. You know, how about a different brand? We'll give you this brand to move up there, but it's going to require more property. It's going to require 10 or 11 acres. So they came back and they wanted to buy the parcel next to it, which was originally going to be a swim school, which we got kind of excited about. I'm sorry, not originally. It was originally retail, and then we changed it to allow the swim school. And so now it was a little challenging to see the swim school go away because that would feed a hotel, and then see the car dealership want to expand. But it's a really nice car dealership. It's really exciting. It's a brand that we don't have here. In fact, I think, well, they did make it public. It's Honda. And they just have these fabulous 60,000 square foot state-of-the-art showrooms that look, you know, they're just beautiful. So it was just a lot of moving parts, and the council moved to table it until they can take a more comprehensive look at the whole planned unit development and go, will this be our last change? Or will later you'll want to do this or that?
Right, and that seemed to be the concern by some of the members, was just all of this changing. This is a planned unit development. You're supposed to decide what it's supposed to be, and there's been all of these changes over the years. But it's also been something that's been happening for 8 years as far as sitting vacant and things not exactly going in there. So how do you balance all of that?
And I had and I would call it, you know, I've been mayor since a year ago, January, and I would call it still a rookie mayor mistake. And I shouldn't have accepted a motion to table. You know, I should have said, nope, I'm not going to accept that motion until we hear the presentations at least. But it went so fast, and I went, oh, I can't get that back. And so we did allow the presentations to go on, and it's an exciting project. And I called the owner of the dealership the next day because I wanted to make sure that we didn't torch this. And he said, we're fine. He said, we're not going to get our letter of commitment until the fall anyway, so we're good. Just take your time and do your work on it. And I was happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So at least that still be an alternative. Anyway.
Yeah. So it sounds like this will be coming up though quickly at a work session to discuss further.
Right. I don't know what council is going to decide, if council is going to ultimately decide for or against the dealership, but I was hoping that it would continue to be an option, and according to them, it will be. So.
Right. And like we said, the market sort of dictates what goes in. If there's certain things that don't want to go in, you want to fill that land eventually with something. So.
Well, originally you were hoping it was going to be this nice little, almost like a hospitality row, you know, with restaurants, bars, 1 or 2 hotels. Great spot. The market hasn't panned out. You know, we've got, back to the Twin City Visitors Bureau, we run about 66 or the low 60% occupancy. And you need to get up to about the mid 60s before you have a demand for another hotel. Well, now we're finally creeping up to that. And so maybe now the market will present a hotel. I've been told there is one that's posturing and has plans for there, but that's in fact.
And that's one of the items we had as well, right?
Yeah. The next thing we needed to do was finalize the plat so that the hotel that is interested in coming in can finish their designs and things. But we can't finalize that plat. Although we passed the motion to finalize the plat, it can't be recorded until the rest of the development is finalized, because this one starts with that plat.
Right.
So
like the hotel's the 5th edition, and the car dealership we're talking about is like the 4th edition. So there's language in there about the 4th edition when that's not exactly firmed up yet. So
Exactly.
a lot of technicalities there, but it sounds like a hotel may be interested in that site and going in there eventually.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's all gonna eventually develop out, and it's just a matter of trying to get the nicest things in there you can that are gonna best serve the community. And
all right. Well, we'll move back to now our May 3rd meeting. We had quite a bit on there to talk about. We have about less than 10 minutes left here. One of the first items was a proclamation for National Public Works Week, which is actually this week.
yeah, and these are the guys that these are the folks that take care of all of the infrastructure in town.
Yeah.
You know, the sewer, the water, the streets, the curbs, the gutters, the trees, the water, the sewer, the everything. And in Coon Rapids, this is very important. When you look at our budget, it goes to infrastructure and public safety, and these are important keys here. So it was good to recognize them, and and then they had a great open house Saturday over at the Public Works Garage, well attended. It was fun to hear residents look around at all the equipment and all the things that they do and say, I feel better about paying my taxes.
Yeah. And I don't think you sometimes realize all the work that goes in there. I had a chance to stop by this week and talk to about 6 or 7 of the employees there. So we're putting together a little video on kind of what the Public Works Department does. So watch for that this week on CTN News Spotlight.
Yep. So the second resolution we did,
go ahead.
Keep moving here, was to accept the donation for Movies in the Park, and that was that Community Strength Foundation we talked about earlier. That is sort of the handles that money that comes in from Twin City Gateway and other funding. And so they wrote, they're going to cover the Movies in the Park this year. We have 2 of them. The first one will be coming up Friday night, May 27th, over at the soccer complex. Nice family movie called Inside Out.
Yeah.
Should be very fun. And then we also accepted a donation from the Coon Rapids Lions Club for $500 to go towards the Elements Teen Center over in the Riverwind Center, and that'll help with their programming and things through the summer.
Yeah, always nice to see the community groups donating to good causes within town.
Yeah.
We also had a resolution appointing a new member to the Arts Commission.
The Arts Commission, we have all these commissions that really kind of direct how things function around the city. Yep. From parks to safety to, I'll stop because there's so many.
Yeah.
And the arts, gosh, that one looks like fun. They plan all the concerts in the park, the movies in the park, the music and dessert series in the winter.
Yeah, photo contests, all that kind of stuff.
Yep, photo contests. Yeah, they think they had something for Christmas lights. Yep. It's a great group, and we just approved Ellen, and I'm going to say Fueling because that's phonetically what it looks like.
Yeah.
Ellen Fueling to the Arts Commission. So.
All right. So welcome to her, and
Yeah, and the rest of the story was she had just moved to town and wanted to get involved. So that was kind of that was fun to see somebody that wanted to just jump in like that.
That is great. All right, one of the items that took the longest on this meeting was considering an ordinance to allow backyard chickens. We had quite a lengthy discussion on this, and members of the public that appeared to talk about the issue.
How did that come out?
It was approved. I didn't say the ordinance was adopted.
Yeah, it was. This was something that, I think 3 years ago, this is always around, if you don't allow chickens, you're going to hear people asking for them once in a while. And it went to a workshop a few years ago, and the consensus of the council was no. The majority of the council did not favor backyard chickens. Mm-hmm. And then there was an election, and leading up to the election, this is a very organized group. And they emailed and contacted all the candidates that were running for council. They brought it up at at the public forums to get commitments. Do you support chickens or don't you? Mm-hmm. And then there was an election, and we had a majority of the council at that point that had publicly said they support chickens. So it was time to relook at them. And it's something that, there's a lot of folks that look at it with this like hillbilly thing, and not saying that in a negative way, mm-hmm. but almost like a backwoods thing. And it's nothing further from the truth. This is like a progressive thing. This is people that like to grow their own vegetables. They like to buy things organic. They like to know where their food is coming from as much as possible. And chickens are a real easy one. It's not an easy one. They're a lot of work, but it's one that it's a low-hanging fruit for them. It's one that they can go after. And so a lot of discussion. It's highly regulated because we don't want it to affect the use and enjoyment of any of the neighbors around them. So it's, they have to keep everything cleaned once a week. It's not more than 60 square feet of pen space. It's got all these setbacks, and I think the permit we just approved was $100. I think it's a $100 permit to be able to do this, because we have to have staff time to oversee it.
Right, and then you need to take a look at your plan to see how the backyard coop will lay out and all of that.
Yep.
So like you said, it's highly regulated. There are rules. It's not just a free-for-all.
Right, and it's one of the more restrictive ones in that you can only have up to 4 chickens, no roosters, and as Councilor Demmer said it first and said it best, and that was, this is written on paper. This isn't carved in granite or marble, or however he phrased it. If we need to tweak this, if we run into issues, we need to tweak it, we can make tweaks. If the wheels come off and we just realize this is a bad idea, we can just say, this isn't going to work, and withdraw it. It's not so.
Like you said, this is not the only community. Other communities have done this as well in recent years.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think more than not. It's many communities.
All right, we have less than 3 minutes left. Let's talk about the ordinance on native plantings and landscapes.
Yeah, and they kind of travel together, because this is also something we regulate, where we track yards. You can't have weeds or grass growing more than 8 inches in your yard, becomes unsightly for your neighbors. Well, now we're introducing native plantings. Well, so how do you determine which is a native planting and which is just weeds growing out of control? So now you are allowed to have natural planting and encouraged to have this, but there's a process. You have to come in and do a site design, and there's only certain things that are approved that are natural to this area. That's not the right wording, but so it'll be a matter of, you can't just willy-nilly say, this is my native planting. Right. You have to have a design on file here, and again, it's with setbacks.
So there's rules and regulations with that too. Anyone interested in looking at that can certainly give City Hall a call, and they can help them out on that. Hope for Youth requested a waiver of some of their fees, and a grant was given to them.
Yep, and it was. So we didn't want to set a precedent of just forgiving the building permits. It was an organization, or it is an organization, that the council thought worthy of supporting. So to offset the money they're paying to the city for the building permits, a grant was provided to them of a little over $9,000.
Okay, and they're kind of converting that old stage door dance building right at the south end of town there, close to Northtown, into this transitional housing facility, correct?
Correct. I believe it's going to have 12 apartments there. And it's, they have to be either working or in school to live there, no drugs, no alcohol, and it's a great opportunity to transition kids that have started out rough, getting them back on the right path.
All right, and that's still under construction down there, and they're trying to get all of that situated.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are out of time.
Perfect.
Thank you for being here today, Jerry. Thank you at home for watching, and we will look for you back here again after our 2 meetings in June.